Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome in to another redraft ranking video. Guys, we've already had wide receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks go off. Now it's time for tight ends. It's the bums of the tight ends. We're already past 1 through 8. Go check that video out. And now check out the next set of tight ends. We're going to talk about a bunch of them. Just hit the fucking intro.
Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother.
Show me the money.
Yo, show me the money!
Alrighty, first up, Tyler's boy, Mike Gesicki. So we range from tight end 6 at Tyler down to tight end 12 at Big Peen for Danny, I believe. So Tyler, why do you have him at 6? And Danny, why do you have him at 12?
All right, no receiver options added. Mike Gesicki was very efficient in the back half of the year when the offense was finally getting going, and they cut off all ties to big man Chad O'Shea. What a guy. So they cut all the ties away from him. The offense was finally started able to piece it together. I'm very excited to see Mike Gesicki be what I could genuinely believe that to start the season he'll be the number 2 option behind Parker. When Preston Williams comes back and is in full stride and very healthy, I think it's a clear 3, and I think it's a passing-based offense first anyways. So I think Mike Gesicki is going to be very efficient. I think he's my breakout candidate of the year. For a guy that's going to go booming up in the rankings, 6 I see is very feasible. A lot of guys around after the first 3, in my mind, are very shaky kind of plays. I think Gesicki can go up and re-solidify himself into a mid-tight end 1 kind of situation. And at 6, I'm very excited to see what he can do, because I think he can take over that opportunity. There's not a lot of receiver options. They didn't draft any outside of a quarterback who likes to be on boats for a living. So that's just my opinion. Malcolm Perry.
Yeah, so I think really for him, he's the one guy that I think people are going to deem as like the next Mark Andrews, because everything lines up like it did last year. He's basically the wide receiver 2, I guess you could say, as of now, because we don't know Preston Williams' status. And he's really the only receiver on that team that's going to cover the middle of the field, because Parker and Preston Williams primarily play the outside and primarily run wide receiver 1 route trees. They didn't really run any underneath routes, over the top routes, and I think Gesicki will run that. So I like that play a lot. I just hope his ADP doesn't catch up to him. I think it might crack the top 6 preseason, but in August this year.
The thing that worries me about Gesicki, again, I still like him. I mean, tight end 12 is by no means because I don't like him. It's just because he's kind of in that range of the tight end, like tier 3 tight end options for me. Like after obviously George Kittle, Kelsey, and then the tier of like the Wallers, Ingrams, and all of them. But when it comes to Gesicki, what scares me is that they were so inefficient in terms of the run game last year. That has to improve with Matt Breida and Jordan Howard in town, coupled with the offensive line.
Make the offense better, though. So that'll make the offense better. Now they're moving the ball to get more red zone opportunities, which is big Mike, baby.
Which could help, but it's also going to decrease the overall volume that he's going to see, coupled with the fact that Preston Williams, again, you mentioned, breakout candidate as well in his own right. There's just 3 options in that pass game. Again, he's still going to be good.
That's not very many, though. Like, if a tight end in any offense, I mean, we look at it from above. So Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews, we kind of threw away. Yeah. Ertz, you can throw away too, but Ingram, 3rd option. Waller.
I would say Ingram's the first in that passing game. I'd say Ingram's the first in that passing game.
I'd say he's the 4th.
Yeah, what?
In the passing game?
Yeah, dude.
Hayden Hurst, the 3.
How many targets Shepard gets a game?
Hayden Hurst is the 3. You can say Henry, when he's on the field, could be the 2, but he's really the 3. I mean, Mike Gesicki, he can solidify himself
Most
up there. Tyler Higbee is in
2nd or 3rd options at best.
Yeah, agree, but
healthy, pretty much.
Wait, did you say you actually think Ingram's the 4th option on that team, though?
Yeah, I mean, it's Golden Tate gets 7 targets a game. Shepard, when he's healthy, gets 6-7 targets a game. Slayton's only going to see more targets from here on out.
Barkley and Ingram are probably going to have the same amount of targets if the offense runs the way it did 2 years ago when Barkley was healthy.
But at the same time, under Jason Garrett, his tight ends always get over 100 targets when they're actually good players. I mean, you're looking at last year, 83 targets.
Those tight ends also play a full season, though, too.
Yeah. Either way, Mike Gesicki, very, very talented player. I mean, anything else we want to?
Yeah, I want to touch on him a little bit. I have him second lowest, but I really like his outlook. He was ranked third in deep targets for the position last year. He was like top 3 in contested catch rate. He obviously progressed as a player. He had 89 targets last year, which I actually didn't know until I researched it. Like, he could easily break the 100 target, 110 target kind of range, which is you're a top 8 tight end usually if you get that kind of volume. And with the slot usage, he played like 35% of his snaps out of the slot, as Lucas mentioned. He's the only guy really over the middle of the field. And yes, the run game efficiency is going to improve, but there's still going to be a pass-heavy team because the run game, I mean, it's probably be better.
It was god-awful.
It's not going to be like elite by any means. Neither is their defense. Probably won't be like holding people to no points to the point where they're running the clock out on everyone. So they're still going to throw the ball probably 550 plus times a game. Or a season. So I
imagine a game.
Secchi's outlook, even though I have him 11, I just like guys like Jonnu Smith and a couple guys ahead of him.
Yeah, we'll get into a couple of guys. Again, this tier from probably like 7 or 8 to like 13 or 14 is pretty similar in my eyes. So having him at 12 is no slight to the actual players, just comparison to the actual players I have ranked ahead of them.
All right. Well, we'll bounce off to the next guy. So right after Mike Gesicki, we have Tyler Higbee. I'm the lowest on him. I have him at 16. I'm going to have to defend some shit there. Danny has him at 18. Lucas, the sheep, has him at 9. 8. I'm sorry. Don't yell at me, Dad. And then Bush is rolling in at 10. You guys want to defend your case before I tell you that Gerald Everett's starting tight end for the Los Angeles Rams?
They wouldn't have paid Tyler Higbee if he was.
Not to mention, how is Gerald Everett the starting tight end when all everyone's going to say when they're making the case against Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett broke out. That's why Tyler Higbee, he's not going to continue his pace. Gerald Everett did it before he got hurt. If you're actually comparing their breakouts, Gerald Everett's breakout was, 11 points per game over that 4-game stretch? Tyler Higbee's last 5 weeks of the season, 21.44 PPR points per game. Over 100 yards, 11 targets. Like, he was fucking amazing. Now, the thing with Tyler Higbee, ultimately, why he's even going this low, because let's be honest here, if he did it over a larger sample size, he would be a fringe top 5, 6 option going in drafts. The thing that has people pause is, it happened at the end of the season when the Rams realized, okay, we don't have the offensive lineman to be able to run our 11 personnel, so we got to switch to the 12. Cooper Kupp's banged up. They were relying on him heavily. That's ultimately what people are going to say. Now we're looking at it. What did they do in the draft that actually solidified their offensive line? What did they do? Nothing.
They drafted another tight end.
Yeah, Van Jefferson.
A tight end 3 to replace Gerald Everett when he's ultimately.
They don't need an offensive line. They got Cam Akers. He's used to it.
Okay. Yeah, that still means that they're going to use Tyler Higbee.
I think this is very similar to the Dolphins scenario because there is no game split you can take because when Gerald Everett was breaking out, he did it with Brandon Cooks on the field. And yes, the differential between Higbee when he broke out and Everett's bigger, but the differential between Higbee's games with Everett and Everett's games with Higbee is the same gap, if that makes sense. So 21 minus 11 is 10. But I think we looked it up yesterday. It was like 3 points a game for Higbee and 8 for Everett when they both played. So that's 5. So, there is no good split to take. And in the end, I think they're going to switch back to 11 personnel because why would you draft Jefferson when you're not going to switch back to 11 personnel as your second pick when –
they're going to cut Cooper Kupp.
Trade. This is a hypothetical thing, and I'm all about the contracts, and I just hit with Dalvin Cook too, so I think it actually played out pretty well too.
You forget to mention that the cap's a myth anyway. Maybe not this year because the cap's going to go down, but normally it's usually a myth that you can just give a guy a signing bonus and it's fine.
So I get that he broke out last year, but Everett broke out before him. But what I'm trying to say is there's no good game split really to take, and I know we touched upon it with the Dolphins receivers because each side has its ups and downs with it. And I think another thing too is Higbee before the breakout last year played 58 total games, right? 2 of those games he had over 50 receiving yards. So we can't just imagine that he's this great, amazing tight end that's going to command this market share that's going to produce all these fantasy points because he was terrible before the breakout last year.
I mean, he could have just improved. I mean, it happens. You just see
58 game improvement.
You're the contract guy. To me, them paying Higbee signals that this is Everett's last year. And I know this isn't Dynasty, but that in and of itself proves to me that Higbee is the starting tight end. He's going to be the primary tight end. So I have him at 10 mainly because I think he's going to finish here. I'm not exactly what you'd call bullish on him. I don't think I'm going to be targeting him too much because I think there's a lot of people that are higher on him than I am. I kind of just see him as like fine. Like he might be kind of like, I don't know. He had the same amount of targets as Mike Gesicki last year. So he wasn't like completely involved. And I don't think there's going to be like a shift to a 12 personnel or a shift back to the 11 personnel. I think they're going to actually mix it up a little bit. I think they're going to use a little bit of both. And I could definitely see Higbee outperforming where I have him ranked, but I could also see him kind of just being a little like middling tight end that finishes in the top 12 because it's pretty easy to finish in the top 12.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't really know. I'm sorry.
No, go.
I was gonna say, I don't really like. He probably is the starter, but like they didn't draft Bryson Hopkins as their third pick when they need O-line, they need defense.
Like, because Everett's walking after this year.
Yeah, but then you would think maybe they use Everett a lot more. I don't know. So it's just kind of a crapshoot. I think the expectation is a lot higher than what the reality actually is because there's never been a tight end. I mean, like obviously it's a short sample, but like name a Rams tight end ever. Like, you know, like their name a tight end in the last 3 years. They don't use the middle of the field. They use Cooper Kupp, but it's a slot receiver, just like the short routes. They don't use an over-the-top guys. So I don't know. It's just kind of just a fade situation for me altogether.
Yeah. So all I know is that, at least in baseball terms, your contract year is your best year. That's why Chris Davis makes way too much money. Anyways, go Orioles. Just a word joke. We'll jump on to our next guy, Mike Gesicki, Tyler Higbee, and now Jonnu Smith. So this is a guy who Bush is ridiculously high on. And you know what? I won't BS it. I am too. So is Big Peen Danny, and the Sheep Lucas is a little low on him. So Lucas, before we pounce on you and just take your soul, you want to defend your Jonnu Smith at 14 take?
Yeah, I think it's his schedule's tough, and I don't take that super into account. And like, yes, he's the number 2 receiving option on the team. But if we had the same case for him being that high, I think A.J. Brown would be like, if that makes sense. Like the market share on the Titans is not that great in comparison to the rest of the league. So like, I don't hate Jonnu Smith. I think he's a great late round guy. I just think Hooper, as much as I think the Browns are a disgusting franchise and are just a landmine, like he'll still probably finish higher because he'll still probably get 6-7 targets a game. And I have Hockenson. I'm just banking on the year 2 with the tight end and pass efficient offense. So I don't hate him at all. I just think that we might need to temper our projections a little bit because it still is the Titans that ran the ball 30 times a game in the playoffs when they were winning.
Here's my thing on Jonnu Smith. I have the splits pulled up right now. Delaney Walker is gone. That's the biggest thing for Jonnu Smith is that in his career, and Jonnu Smith came from a small school. He wasn't exactly the most pro-ready tight end, but I mean, the analytics committee just loved Jonnu Smith when he was coming out. I remember it. And the big thing for me is when Delaney Walker went down, it was like week 6 or whatever. Jonnu Smith's snap share went from like around a 50% clip to a 75% clip. And not only that, but he was playing nearly 20% of his snaps from the slot, which is a big deal because as I mentioned with A.J. Brown in the wide receiver video, I thought A.J. Brown was playing way more snaps from the slot than he was. And a guy like Jonnu Smith playing from the slot with a quarterback like Tannehill, who, I mean, the offense is centered around Derrick Henry and play action. So having a big target over the middle like Jonnu Smith and A.J. Brown and Corey Davis on the outside, it just makes everyone's job easier. And to me, Jonnu Smith is the second target in the offense, or he will be after this year, because Corey Davis has proved that he's not going to be efficient with the targets he does get. And A.J. Brown's just a stud. And he's also going to draw the most attention along with Derrick Henry. So I think there's plenty of room for a tertiary option to eat in this offense, and I don't think it's going to be Corey Davis. To me, it's an argument between Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith. And also, Dion Lewis is gone. And yes, they have Darrington Evans, but the targets that Dion Lewis received are not going to Derrick Henry. So I could see the tight end position as a whole, maybe not just Jonnu Smith, but the Ferksers and the other guys there. I think the tight end position in general could just see a bump in targets. And not to mention, Jonnu Smith's going to be insanely efficient. He's like
I was going to touch up on that.
Athlete, and he gets a lot. He got a couple deep targets as well for his position.
Touching up upon that efficiency, as you just mentioned, I'll send this to you to put on the screen pretty much. But 8th in yards per reception, 2nd in yards per target, 11th in yards per pass route, and a big one for me, especially given like how their offense is going to function, 2.41 target separation, which was 2nd. When you're talking about Jonnu Smith, he's one of the most efficient players in the league, and if you give him an increased overall target share from what we expect, again, he's probably going to be the number 2 option in this passing offense. Man, it's just so hard not to project him to break out. I know there's going to be a lot of people on either side of it. They're going to say, oh, he's unknown. We haven't seen him.
ADP low. I think he's the perfect guy. I've been preaching this strategy for a while. I'm very much a guy who will avoid the Hunter Henrys and the Darren Wallers and the Zach Ertzes in the middle of the rounds. And I'll take Jonnu Smith and Hayden Hurst like in the 10th and 11th round. Or I'll take Jonnu Smith and Mike Gesicki in the 11th and 12th round. I'd rather take two guys like that who I honestly don't view very differently than a guy like Hunter Henry or Evan Ingram for that matter. So to me, Jonnu Smith is a target of mine in every league that I play in this year because I think his ADP is going to stay basically around the 12th, 11th, maybe 10th round range just because of the offense he plays in. And everyone's going to assume, and rightfully so, that the pass attempts aren't going to be very high. But I think he's talented enough and the offense is designed enough around the play action game and having a move tight end like him to the point that he's able to produce regardless of how, like if they're only throwing the ball 25 times a game.
Yeah, the only thing I have to say about Jonnu Smith is he's got a weird name, and I've never seen that before. So we'll jump on to Noah. I'm sorry, my segues are getting absolutely mint these days. We'll jump on to Noah Fant. He's our next tight end. The Lion, Tyler Moss, has him the highest. I got him at 10. Bush, you've got him at 13. The Sheep or Lucas has him at 16. And then Danny's sitting there with 11. So I guess I'll give a little bit of backing. A little bit of rapport there with homeboy Locke. That's fine. Albert Agumbawale, Lucas, settle down. I know he exists. Yeah, there's a lot of receiver options there.
Agumbawale, like Dare?
Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. That's not his name, is it?
Dude. Come on.
I'm good. I don't fucking know. There's an O, a K, a W. That I fucking know.
What are you talking about?
Albert O.
Albert O.
Even know?
Yeah, he called him Agumbawale.
Who fucking cares? Oh, I don't care. All right. Anyways, I like the receiving options there. There was a lot of overhaul in there. Yeah, Judy, phenomenal. A guy that I don't even care, and KJ Hamilton. Guys, we're doing great with names. And Tyree Cleveland, who I really liked as well. I just think the offense will be very efficient, and I think Fant will get his cut. I think it's very easy to get into the tight end one position, and I see him doing it. That's it.
Did you say KJ Hamilton?
I'm so fucking tired. I'm sorry, gentlemen.
Noah Fant is basically copy and paste everything I just said for Jonnu Smith, essentially. But the only difference to me with Noah Fant and Jonnu Smith is that I very much believe Jerry Jeudy's going to be like a 100-target receiver his rookie year. Like, I think he's going to come in immediately and make an impact.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb numbers.
I think Jerry Jeudy is so much more pro-ready than probably every receiver in this entire draft class that just came out. So I don't think it's going to be very long before Jerry Jeudy is commanding like a 7-target role in the offense. But the intriguing thing about Noah Fant to me is the amount of deep targets he received at his position. Also the slot snaps. Like I said, pretty much the same thing I said for Jonnu Smith. He's not just going to be used in line like a regular tight end because he's such you go to his workout metrics, they're just stupid. So I mean, he's going to probably be the primary field stretcher. Him and KJ Hamler are probably going to be the guys who accomplish that role. And I think when you have a big armed quarterback like Locke, it definitely can benefit him. And you saw it with Noah Fant towards the end of the year. Early in the year, he looked terrible. Like he couldn't catch the ball. He fucking was like, I think he like fumbled like a really bad play too. Like he just didn't look good. But towards the end of the year, you saw him put it together and you saw those big splash plays that you knew were possible. Like, I mean, his best comparable on player profile is George freaking Kittle. So, and it's basically because of how good of an athlete he is. So, I'm definitely, he's another one of these guys that I'm just willing to take a shot on. Maybe a bit less so because I do envision him being the third option in the offense. Plus, I think Melvin Gordon could carve out a decent receiving share as well. But the offense should be better, like in more pass heavy than Tennessee's, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Noah Fant here. If you've heard me throughout the really the off season in general, he's one of the guys that I just look at from a talent standpoint. Before the drafting of Jeudy, I had him like really high. Like
he would have been high for me before they drafted Jeudy as well.
He most likely would have been in that like 6 to 9 range. That's how high I am on him as a talent. Nice. But yeah, no, I have him at 11 here because I still do believe that although there is plenty of mouths to feed, he can definitely carve out his role in this offense. I mean, he's an athletic freak. He's not that type of tight end like a Zach Ertz or an Austin Hooper, who we're going to segue into next, actually, who needs like 7, 8, 9 targets a game to be producing from a fantasy perspective. You give Noah Fant 3, 4 targets a game, man, he's going to get you 30, 40 receiving yards at the very minimum. Yeah. First of all. And second of all, like he's got upside in the sense that like the role that he's going to provide, Collinson's going to provide the physical outside role. Jerry Judy's going to provide the quick, quick separation routes for Drew Lock. Ultimately, Noah Fant's going to be that field stretcher. Now you're going to say KJ Hamler, and I get that, but again, I don't know. It's just something about Noah Fant, man. I believe in his talent enough to be able to overcome the too many mouths to feed man.
Yeah.
Situation.
So I think with him based on hit rates from 2010, there's been 7 tight ends in year 2 that were round 1 picks or pick 11 through 32. Only one of them has finished top 12, and that was 7 through 12, so not even top 6. The rest finished right around top 18. My thing is I get tight ends take time to develop, but he would have had more than 4.4 targets per game with the lack of weapons there were, especially because Cortland Sutton and Drew Lock were not connecting with each other, and he played quite a bit of snaps. Nick Vinette's there. They didn't sign him to $4 million a year to not play as a tight end. Albert O's there. Hamler's now the deep threat. You don't take a deep threat only guy to come be an alpha receiver in the NFL. Judy's playing in the middle. Sutton, I would hope, can bring a second or build a connection with Lock. Deontay Spencer got 4 to 5 touches a game in CFL, sort of. Also, Tyree Cleveland, even though I don't think he'll make the roster.
My CFL brother.
But he's good though. So I don't know. I think it's just
Wait, the guy from Calgary? Is he from Calgary?
Deontay Spencer. I don't know. He was like a return specialist. They gave 4 or 5 touches a game last year. So I just don't see wherever you're going to take him to returning that back. Because where are you realistically going to start him in your roster, banking on the 5th option in this offense, 6th option in this offense, scoring you fantasy points?
I think his upside is the 3rd option. I think it is probably realistic to assume he's probably the 4th, maybe 5th option behind. I don't know. Maybe Melvin Gordon gets a 7.
I still think Lindsey though. I
don't know.
Yeah, I think this team is going to be projected for a lot of passing attempts, and I really don't think they're going to be super, super high. And is this offense really that great yet too? So
next year is good, not this coming year, but the year after is going to be the year that breaks out personally. I think we're just 1 year too early on it because I think next year is going to be the year of Judy.
And that's where the hit rates kind of bounce back in year 3 for most tight ends anyway. So I would say tread with caution. Make sure you get a safer play because the outcomes of Fant are really high. Actually, probably not even super high, but they're really low for sure. So next up, like we mentioned, Austin Hooper at our all tight end consensus 13. The gross thing is this offense is going to be molded perfectly for a tight end, but there's 3 tight ends on this team. So we have to move Austin Hooper down realistically. And I think really where you were banking on Austin Hooper's production would be in the red zone, and Minnesota ran the ball in the red zone at the highest rate. Cleveland was 3rd best. And to be honest,
you don't want David throwing the ball in the red zone. Let's just be honest.
David Njoku is more athletic than Austin Hooper. I'm going to argue that Harrison Bryant is just as athletic as Austin Hooper, and he'll play a lot of snaps because he plays fullback too. So I guess I think Hooper would be a good.
Harrison
Bryant's not playing a lot of snaps.
He was the Mackey Award. He was the Mackey Award winner last year, the best tight end in the nation.
Yeah, did you see the tight end class?
Dayton.
Yeah, and he got picked. He played fullback.
It's got robbed.
I've seen Pee Wee games with better fucking camera quality than his games.
Do I have Austin Hooper the highest? Please don't tell me.
I'm
the same spot.
What's up? Yeah, we all have 13. I think,
13.
But to be honest, though, I think I might have him in a couple leagues because if you can get him in the 13th round, 12th round, because if he falls, that's a safe guy just to toss in there. I get you want to play upside, but if you're getting him in the 12th round, 7 points a game, take it and run and just build the rest of your team.
I also don't believe in Beckham, and I think I'm a little higher on the Browns offense than probably some people are. And if I'm not a believer in Beckham, I kind of have to believe in Jarvis Landry and Austin Hooper and some of the other guys.
Landry had surgery. Landry's going to play week 1.
Yeah. Hooper to me, he seems kind of just a safe option. He'll probably be a top, 10 tight end. Just based on the role that he's probably going to have. He's going to play a large snap share with Stefanski coming in. And, Stefanski, they don't throw the ball in the red zone a lot, but when they do, it's to tight ends because you saw Kyle Rudolph have, some useful games. So, Hooper was really efficient in the red zone last year. They're not going to throw as much as Dirk Cutter does in the red zone, but I think when Hooper gets opportunities in the red zone, he's going to be able to cash in on them. So, 13, I'm not excited about him, but I don't hate him either.
Unless I missed something, I'm pretty sure there's only 113 in the number alphabet. So the fact that that Bush has Noah Fant and Austin Hooper at 13 is just drastic for me. Okay. I was going to adjust it. All right. I just called you out on
Oh,
All right,
gosh.
he'd be at my 14 then, I guess.
All right. 14. Okay. So we're
Same difference. Same
crazy
difference.
things now over.
Oh,
Anyways,
Tyler.
What?
Oh,
What?
14. No, I'm joking.
What about 14? Okay. Number 1, stop yelling at me. Number 2, Tgd Hawkinson is getting robbed of our 13th position because the guy's fantastic. All right. So here's my thing for him. I think he's going to be your breakout of the year. I think Matt Stafford plays the full season. They're willing to go to him when he was healthy and Stafford was the same.
Is Hassan Reddick covering him every game? Is my question.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah,
If
baby.
not, then he didn't prove anything because he
hell
literally
yeah.
only had one good game.
Hell yeah.
It's the same hit rates apply. Actually, a little different. The only tight end in that sample that Dwayne ran was Eric Ebron, who got picked right around the same pick to the Lions. So it was kind of like coincidental.
No Vernon Davis?
No, since 2010. So it was just the last 10 years. So like, I think Hockenson though, like if you're truly embracing the like stash tight ends late, I think you have to pick him.
Yeah.
Just because this offense is going to be so good, and that I get the hit rates don't.
The draft capital like argument does apply in redraft too. It's not just a dynasty thing. When you use a top 10 pick on a tight end,
Yeah.
I mean Hockenson is uber talented. Like I just don't think his. I think the same thing with Fant. I don't think this is the year of Hockenson.
No,
I think
it's next year.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. With
When
Hawkinson, that kind of
Amendola and Jones and all those guys are gone, is when I think it's going to happen.
So since Tyler messed around with the rankings, so Gronk made it ahead of Fant and Hooper.
I didn't mess
No
around.
way.
I did.
Oh,
that.
no
I did
way.
that.
Yeah, how dare you accuse me?
Well, it's also okay. So Dallas Goedert's
No.
up next.
Okay, hold on. Consensus is good. I'll fix it right now.
yeah, fix it right
Okay,
now. What do you?
There we
Yeah.
go. We're good.
So Dallas Goedert is up next. I think Goedert is going to be drafted way too high because I think he was the product of lack of receivers on this team. I still think he's a safe pick in terms of a handcuff for Zach Ertz, who's been injured here and there. But I think last year was really the only year where because he was not startable. Even like when he finished as a top 10 tight end or whatever, but he was not like you were starting a guy with 6 points a game or 7 points a game. He just finished high because he got 7 points a game for 16 games where you could just stream other guys. So I don't know. I just don't think Dallas Goedert's really hit. I think Dynasty is perfect. I think if he can, I think Ertz has 1 more year, I believe, or 2. But if you can get a mature tight end at age 26 when he's only been in one offense and he's going to be the primary guy, I think he's a perfect Dynasty guy, but I don't want him in redraft at all.
Yep, fair enough.
I
don't know. I buy into the year 2 breakout. Why not, right? Why not? Anyone
Has
can
he
do
got
it.
it like year 4 already?
I don't know.
we all have them basically the same. You guys literally have them the exact same rank for the record.
Yeah, because
Yeah, fuck you, Lucas.
Yeah.
He'll finish here because he's going to get you 6 points a game. But like in perspective, like he's not a
like
pick.
Jack Doyle, right?
Everyone,
Yeah.
the worst argument that everyone makes for him is that he's like a standalone tight end, top 12 tight end, which I mean he has been the last like couple of years, and he also has like a handcuff value, like that if anything happens to Zach Ertz, he's going to be a top 3 tight end. I've heard that argument so many times, and Zach Ertz never gets hurt. So I don't like if Zach Ertz was Evan Ingram, okay, maybe, but like he's not.
Hurt your heart.
Sorry.
I mean, like defenses that score you 3 points a week or top 12 defenses, like screw off. Like it's a stupid argument. So
Hey, you don't
don't-
walk into the defense and kick around.
don't draft Dallas
Yeah.
Goedert unless like you're in a super deep league and you just need a handcuff because then it's a perfect handcuff, but it's a waste of a pick.
Yeah. Lucas, you
somehow
handcuff
Gronk
your
made it
tight
here.
ends. Come on.
Come on.
I would if it was
Why would you take
Zach
Dallas
Ertz
Goedert
possibly.
when Jack Doyle's on the board? That's all I'm saying.
So
Yuck.
Gronk makes it here, and
Yeah.
yeah.
so my thinking is everyone was split on OJ Howard last year because he's really good, vacated production,
No
good
one was
talent.
split on OJ Howard last year. Everyone had him as a top 5 tight end.
But there were some people that were off him because Bruce Arians has never had a good tight end.
They weren't off of him. They were concerned. They still had him in their top 5.
We're talking
my
about the
thinking
on-field
is
tight end, not Bruce Arians. tight end.
so my thinking is why does a guy that hasn't played in 2 years, hasn't played a full season in like 4 or 5, lost a bunch of weight, comes to a new team, has injury concerns, and is now mixed in with the group of 3 tight ends for a coach that has never produced a good fantasy tight end, gonna put up fantasy points. Like, stop. Like,
Okay, well, he
He
has.
was in
He had Heath
WWE
Miller in
too.
Pittsburgh. He can use tight ends. It's not like a
it's
completely
like 1 season. He only had like
yes.
1 good
Yeah, but-
season.
okay.
Gronk-
This is redraft.
Gronk running
Maybe
on-
just 1 season from Gronk.
Gronk running on one leg.
Okay,
Gronk
here's
running
my
on one
thing with
leg is still
Gronkowski.
faster than Jack Doyle.
Why I have Gronkowski at 12 and I have him at 12, and I will admit there's a little bit of homer in it because I do think this offense is going to be very good. And the reason I think it's going to be very good, let's assume they throw the ball 580 times, which is like 50 times less than they threw it last year.
That's reasonable, yeah.
Yeah. So Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are probably going to get 300 targets combined, right? That leaves 280 targets. The pass-catching running backs on this team, like, Ogunbowale might get like 50 targets, but and like Rojo might get 40 and Keyshawn Vaughn might get 40, but like that's not that much.
Just give him like 120 total, I'd say.
I think Gronkowski, the reason that I buy into him, and he's not the type of tight end that I would normally want to draft because I think he's going to be very touchdown dependent. And that's my thing with him is that I think he could get 8 to 10 touchdowns and also have like, I don't know, like 50 receptions for like 600 yards and then like 10 touchdowns, which will be a top like probably 6 tight end if that happens.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. It's just so gross. Like I think I'm a little bit even more interested in Howard because I think Gronk's going to get injured at some point. And I also think Gronk is going to be the primary blocking tight end on the team also. So my hope, I've said this a couple times, my hope is that OJ Howard gets split out as a move tight end and they use him the way that Tennessee's using Jonnu and that the Dolphins are using Gesicki and stuff is what I want for Howard, but that's besides the point.
So Gronk for me has a sympathy 18. That's only because he won a WWE championship. Look it up. Not the real big belt. No,
he doesn't have it anymore though. It's not there anymore.
He lost last weekend.
R-Truth has to ruin everything.
Yeah, dude, I love that guy. None of you watch WWE. Shut up.
I know who R-Truth was. I used to watch it.
Yeah, that guy's epic. So anyways, that's going to wrap it up. There's no way in hell I'm talking about Jack Doyle. No way in hell I'm talking about
No.
Ebron. No,
I have good points. All right. So
next video, Lucas.
Yeah, the next video.
No, Jack Doyle's up next. So Jack Doyle's up next. So tight ends under Frank Wright.
Put a pick
average 165 targets. Okay. The video's freezing on me now.
Yeah, but they're looking for actual targets rather than orthodontists.
Did Vontaze Perfect kill Jack Doyle last year?
Oh my God.
My internet connection's bad, so I'm waiting for it to catch up, and then I'll tell you why it's going to be good.
All right. While you're waiting on that, home dog, I'm going to talk about a little special company, a little close to my heart, called Shady Rays. So, guys, we're working with this affiliate, Shady Rays. They are phenomenal. Every sunglasses pair that you buy, they give 10 meals to Feeding America. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm very glad to be representing them. Follow the link down in the description below. Every pair is replaceable. If you damage, break them, lose them, whatever the hell you're doing with them, they will replace it. Phenomenal company. Check out the link down below. Lucas, are you ready to talk about Jack Doyle?
I'm ready. All right. So tight ends under Frank Wright, the whole tight end room, average 165 targets a year.
Trey Burton.
165, okay? Mo Alley Cox, stop. He would have broken out. The man's 6'4", 260. He would have broken out by now if he was that.
He's like 6'8". Dude, he's a fucking power
He's
forward.
6'4" according to player profile. But
that's a fucking lie.
That's what I'm saying.
Fucking Draymond, man. Come on.
But a 6'8" or whatever tight end would have broken out by now if he was actually good. Like, he would have broken out right away. Trey Burton, stop. Like, that's not happening.
Well, why is he no stop?
Ebron when he was signed.
Wait, I thought Mo Alley Cox was
okay, fine. So give 40 targets to Trey Burton. That's 120 to Jack Doyle, who there's 48 vacated targets, okay?
But you're saying no to fucking Trey Burton. I could just say no to fucking Jack Doyle.
But no, so like you're denying trend. You see, you're denying trend. That's why you suck at fantasy because you don't look at the actual numbers. So
Jack Doyle. What is Jack Doyle?
All right. Let him get through his argument.
Phillip Rivers average in his whole career tight end finish, tight end 7 in PPR.
Yeah,
because he actually had good tight ends. Hunter Henry.
Targets go to targets.
Dude, he had a whole.
Targets also go to players. Targets just don't go to fucking
how many targets did the most reliable Cowboys receiver Jason Witten that didn't get hurt for a game have last year?
Okay, current Jason Witten is
tight end 11. So Jack Doyle is going to finish this high due to volume. Like, I'm not saying he's good, but due to volume and trends, and T.Y.'s hurt. Paris Campbell's hurt. Pittman's a rookie. Who the fuck are they going to throw to?
Pittman.
The other team. It's
100+ targets.
It's the year of Pittman. I'm telling you, it's going to be Pittman.
100+ targets.
Yes, I think Pittman gets 100 targets.
Okay, then give the rest of the Doyle.
Doyle's had 1 year with over 600.
I actually don't hate the take, Lucas. Like Jack Doyle is not sexy, but I can see him being a volume guy.
All right.
Lucas.
Yeah, volume guy will get you to tight end 12 where I have him ranked.
Well,
Like,
he's going to rank in like the 12 to 17 range. Do you want him?
I respect
clearly do.
I would want to start him here and there based off matchup, especially if he gets 8 targets a game.
Give me someone that actually has upside.
Lucas,
What the fuck
Lucas,
is the point?
I respect
the term upside has no set definition because so you're going to start Blake Jarwin every week because he might win you 1 out of your 16 games, or I'll start the guy that gets me 9 fantasy points a week.
Blake Jarwin is going to I will bet you right now that Blake Jarwin outproduces
that's a
Jack.
bad pick. All right, let's get through our last 3 in our top 20 real quick. Just run through them. So we got Jared Cook, Eric Ebron, and Ian Thomas. I'll go on Jared Cook.
Blake Jarwin needs to be in there, but
no, shut up.
Nope.
Okay, I'll go with Jared Cook right now. So Jared Cook, to me, he's going to be a streamer tight end. It's basically what he's going to be. Emmanuel Sanders is going to have a game here and there. Jared Cook's going to have a game here and there. The options you want in this offense are Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, and they're going to be a run-heavy offense because they have Latavius Murray and Alvin Kamara, and their defense is going to be very good. So I don't anticipate you being able to confidently start like Jared Cook week in and week out. I think it's going to be kind of hope for a touchdown type thing, or if like Emmanuel Sanders gets hurt or something, maybe it's a different conversation. But Jared Cook, to me, he's just got limited upside. I mean, he's tight end 18. I'll probably finish tight end 15 if I had to guess. But I mean, I just rather have I have who do I have? I have Irv Smith 1 spot ahead of him. I have Dallas Goedert 2 spots. Tgd Hawkinson. I just rather have these guys than Jared Cook because there's a world where those guys can be a week in and week out starter for me, in my opinion. So if anyone wants to go on Ebron or Ian Thomas, we can do that.
Eric Ebron, what a guy. Pittsburgh does not utilize tight ends. I don't know why they don't. I mean, sure. They've had some memorable guys in the past. Vance McDonald, just to highlight the class.
Vance.
So yeah, I'm good. No, thank you.
Guy.
And
guy.
Jared Cook can go eat shit. I fucking hate Jared Cook. I have no reason why. But if I saw that guy in an Arby's or something, I'd put that guy in a headlock. No doubt.
Yeah. Ian Thomas, to me, is only interesting because of how much I think the offense is going to have to throw. But, I mean, I've brought up the RB and tight end targets correlating a lot. And, I mean, is there any running back getting more targets in the NFL than Christian McCaffrey? No. So I don't see a way that Ian Thomas is anything more than kind of just a streamer in a good matchup. So, yeah, so that'll probably do it for our top 20 tight ends. Tyler, get us out of here.
Guys, it's been phenomenal. We hope you've had a great time because I sure have. Subscribe, like, comment. Maybe don't do any of that. It will only make me cry. And if you want to see me cry,
bring up Evan Ingram.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
it's been phenomenal. We've all had fun. Hopefully you have too. Good night.
Peace.